welcome back to Yarn Church, the Yarny podcast for Yarny people and the people who love them. A few weeks ago, I talked about how I didn't go to the Rose City Yarn Crawl, or at least not very many shops, because I was with my hand spinning guild down in the Aurora Colony Museum for the Antique Spinning Wheel Showcase, which we do kind of every year as a joint fundraiser for the museum and for our guild. I spent Saturday as a spinner for the sheep to shawl team, and we did our first demonstration of the year. And then the following day on Sunday, I was there as a relief spinner where I kind of sat at different people's spinning wheels to allow them time to go get drink, get lunch, go see the other stuff going on. And I had a really great time. And what I haven't told you yet is I did take some footage, including some of the wheels I got to spin on, a little bit from the sheep to shawl, although I was pretty busy spinning most of the time for sheep to shawl. I did take a little bit of time since it was a little bit more relaxed than a competition in the demo. I took a little bit of time to take a little bit of video during the sheep to shawl demonstration. On Sunday, I got to spin on several people's antique spinning wheels, and I didn't get video of all of them, unfortunately, but I did get a little bit of me spinning on a Lithuanian flax wheel, which we raffled over the weekend, as well as the museum's replica of their oscillating pendulum wheel, which is a really cool spinning wheel and kind of unique. One of the things to see at the Antique Spinning Wheel Showcase was kind of the stars of the show, or the animals. So there were several types of fiber animals. These are some baby doll South Down sheep, really just chowing down on some hay. They also had some French Angora bunnies, including some for sale. Yeah, this one was for sale for $100, and I was really proud of myself to not be taking a new pet home. Next, I checked out the alpacas. This alpaca's name is Charlie, after Charlie Daniels, and that one is Bowie, after David Bowie. Charlie was definitely the friendlier of the two. He really wanted some attention here. Hi, friendly. After I checked out all these cute animals, it was time to go to the sheep to shawl demonstration. All right, ladies, what are we doing?
We are sheep to shawling, or fleece to shawling.
Yeah, so we're picking out the wool now, and Rosalie is carding it on a drum carder. And we'll be doing this for a little while until it's time to start spinning some bats.
So we have to make a couple of bats before that happens.
Yes. Once we had a few bats going, there were 3 spinners that spun up the bats into singles. I didn't get any footage of the next couple of steps, but once the spinners have a little bit of single on their bobbin, the plier comes and takes the singles from 2 of the spinners and plies them together, puts them on a weaving bobbin and hands them to the weaver. And I'll put a little photo here of the shawl that we made that weekend. I really like how it turned out. The rest of the footage I have is of the spinning wheels.
Hi, my wheel's name is Jeanette. I named her after my mother because that was her nickname given to her by her father, and this wheel is French, so I thought that was appropriate. It's a wrought iron spinning wheel. Every part of it has been hand wrought. I took it into a metal shop once to have a little work done on it, and that's what they told me. They were very impressed with it. It spins like a dream, very easy to treadle. I'm spinning with some merino and tencel right now that I hand dyed, and it just is so easy to spin on. I just could spin for hours. I've had it for several years now. I had originally seen it back in the 90s, and I was able to acquire it when the woman was selling off her collection. So that's what I know about it. I believe the bobbin and the whorl were recreated by a man named Ron Antoine, who is no longer with us, and he was a jet who was just his treasure. And one of his signature things when he did work like this was to create a little orifice hook to go with the wheel. So that's my clue that this was worked on by Ron Antoine.
This is the first antique wheel I got to spin on over the weekend. It's a Lithuanian antique flax wheel that the guild raffled off over the weekend, and I'm spinning merino on it, not flax. This was my first time spinning on any antique wheel and my first time spinning on a double drive wheel. I was definitely drafting too quickly for how slow that wheel was moving, but it was very fun anyway. This next bit of footage is of the oscillating pendulum wheel. I'll start with Christy, who taught me how to use the pendulum wheel, explaining how it works, and then I've got footage of me using it.
This is a reproduction of the pendulum wheel. The original antique is in the museum. And the idea is, instead of a walking wheel where I walk away from the spindle walks away from me.
Awesome. Here I am kind of prepping the fiber, getting ready to start spinning. I am turning the drive wheel with my right hand. Meanwhile, with my right foot, I am operating kind of the pedal. You can see it pretty easy because I have my bright pink sock on, but that pedal is what moves the pendulum back and forth. And then with my right hand, I'm holding my fiber, and here I am loading on the fiber to the spindle, which is really the hardest part. And then here's a little bit different angle. The best comparison I can make is this is kind of like rubbing your tummy and patting your head at the same time, kind of spinning style. But after I practiced for a little over an hour on Sunday, I actually got to be pretty decent at this. And, you know, I imagine this would be a lot easier with a woolen prep, but part of the stop and go was having to do a long draw from the fold here. But I quite enjoyed this wheel. I can see how it would be pretty effective to spin a lot of fiber in a very short amount of time if you're actually good at it. But as you can see, the hardest part of this really is getting the fiber, the yarn loaded back onto the spindle. I hope you all enjoyed the slight departure from my usual style of video. Let me know in the comments if this is something you want to see more of, if you want to see more kind of sheep to shawl content, or just more kind of yarny stuff around town, or more instructional stuff. I've been trying to alternate my normal podcast videos with something a little bit more instructional and informative. And I plan to continue doing that. So let me know, do you like this? Do you want to know more about sheep to shawl, or or are there some topics you'd like me to talk about in future informative videos? Thank you all for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe so more yarny people can find me here. Thanks.